A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you all. I'm Rekha Khan, your host for the webinar, and we have with us today Mr. Aishwary Gupta, expert on crypto and blockchain. Today we're going to be talking about what is Web 3.0 and how it will transform the digital era. On joining, you would notice that you are on mute. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please write them on the chat section. At the end of the webinar, we will be holding a Q&A session where all the queries of the participants will be answered by Aishwarya. From the creator of Odin, MCX, and IEX, here is yet another credible and exchange-neutral platform a user can rely on while walking towards the path of crypto and blockchain understanding. Starting from education to knowledge to all the latest news covered under one super app 3.0 verse. Yes, CryptoWire is now being rebranded as 3.0 verse. Let me first take you through the world's first 3.0 university, 3.0 TV, and 3.0 wire services. We all know that crypto and blockchain ecosystem is emerging at an immense speed, and to keep a track of all the events and prices and news looks to be difficult. So what if we have a buddy, which is 3.0 wire? Let me take you through the app briefly. This is the homepage of the app, which has three pillars: 3.0 TV, 3.0 University, and 3.0 wire services. Under the wire services, we have rolled out India's first global index of cryptos, IC50. It tracks the performance of the top 15 cryptocurrencies globally based on market capitalization. Crypto enthusiasts and crypto traders can take informed decisions based on IC50. Under the WireWatch section, we can monitor the best exchange to buy and the best exchange to sell a particular cryptocurrency. You can monitor the arbitrage opportunity available between the two exchanges for the same cryptocurrency. There are more than 400 plus cryptocurrencies listed on our platform, along with 70 plus crypto exchanges worldwide. Crypto TV is an exclusive 24/7 mobile IPTV covering everything on crypto and blockchain ecosystem. It is currently available in 4 different languages: English, Hindi, Gujarati, and Marathi. Coming to our crypto university. You can find the best courses available in our platform on crypto and blockchain ecosystem. Uh, 3.0 verse has also launched its pro version, which is a paid version for all the users. Please do log into our page, register, and do explore this new feature that has been launched by us. You will find it over here in the 3.0 wire segment under the multi-trade routing segment. So basically you can do multi-trade routing from one single window. With this, I would like to introduce the speaker for today, Mr. Aishwary Gupta. Aishwary Gupta is a chartered accountant and an Indian Institute of Management, IMC. Aishwarya is a blockchain and crypto strategist. He is currently working as a blockchain growth specialist in Polygon, India's biggest blockchain project. In their Defi space, he has exposure to working with multiple projects into designing their go-to-market strategy, development of tokenomics, building the product, and spearheading their operational strategies. He is also the founder of Blockchain Byte, an education initiative to learn and grow in the blockchain space. His prior work engagements include Seba Swiss Crypto Bank, ZepPay, American Express, and PwC, a global top audit firm. Join me in welcoming Aishwary Gupta. Hi, Aishwarya. Hope you're doing good.
Hello. Yeah, I'm good. How about you?
Good. Thank you.
So I think I'm here to talk a little bit more about DeFi and the use cases and everything. So when we start about talking about DeFi, one of the things that a lot of people have misconceptions about is like in the previous market, like when all cryptocurrencies and everything were falling, DeFi as a platform or DeFi as something started to fall, and it's no good than like the other centralized platforms that we have today. So that's something where I want to start by busting a myth that most of the platforms that you saw cracking down or falling apart were centralized servers and centralized platforms, like for example, Celsius, where which is to, or any other cryptocurrency exchanges and everything which got bust or just went out of business. Most of them, or 99% of them, were basically non-DeFi. They were CeFi platforms, which is where DeFi comes in and says that CeFi is something where you have to trust an intermediary, and when you trust an intermediary, that's where basically what happens is the biggest problem occurs. So today, if we talk about a lot of platforms and a lot of things that are happening within the DeFi space, it has somewhat evolved to a very large extent. We started with just having cryptocurrencies and trading of cryptocurrencies. We don't even understood what the projects were all about. But as we move forward, as we learn more, we understand that this is something which is evolving. And why this is evolving, or what was something that was not happening properly, which because of which DeFi was required, is still the same. Where like basically today, if you look at banks and other financial platforms, they all do a lot of financial transactions like accepting payments, deposits, and offering lines of credits to individuals, businesses, and everyone like that. While what happens is here, there's one big problem. That problem is banks are managed by humans, and humans are governed by policies that are also prone to human-related errors. For example, corruption, mismanagement, and even like a wrong decision on the part of a poor judgment. Now, because of these reasons, what happens is basically you end up with all these banks going down, a lot of problems happening, and you as retailers and you as last time users come to know only after the damage has been done, and you're stuck into this. So that's something where DeFi comes in the picture, and it wants to create a better and financial landscape. Being in this industry for almost now 4.5 years, now what I've seen is the evolution of how this ecosystem is taking place. So if you look at today, there were three problems that we actually wanted to go out and address. The first one was payments and clearance systems. If you talk about today's payments and clearance systems, still it uses a 40-year-old software, which is Swift. And when we use such a old software, the biggest problem that occurs here is it's broken. And why it's broken? Because of the infrastructure that has been created over the years, and it's just a messaging platform. So that's again another problem that we have to have with payments and clearance systems. Even if we use applications like Mastercard, Visa, and all those applications, there's a huge amount of charges that you pay. So let's say you go to US and you swipe your American Express card, which is issued in India. You go and give convenience fees. You go and give your forex charges, and above all, you also pay a rate higher than the rate that actually which at which the purchases were made. So that's something which is where there's the problem. Second is accessibility. Today, if you look at the whole ecosystem where we have like 8 billion people, there are somewhere around over 2 billion people which are still not connected to the financial ecosystems. And that's where for banks to reach, it requires a lot of infrastructure to build. But for DeFi to reach, it just requires one thing, which is like basically having a smartphone which has internet access to it. So that's something where DeFi actually comes in and plays a vital role. Without giving you the banking infrastructure, you can actually connect people to the financial ecosystems. So that's the second one. And the third one is centralization and transparency too. If you look at a lot of centralized platforms, like I already told you, or even like if you look at banks, a lot of money gets transferred from here and there. If you look at last leaks, which were FinCEN leaks, so it was somewhere around $3.4 billion, where sorry $1 trillion, where which was alleged to be laundered through banks itself. So that's something where centralization plays a role. You do not have a clear picture of what's happening behind the scenes, and only when they fall, like like today we are talking about Wells Fargo going down. So that's something where we actually go or come to know about, oh, this is something that probably might be happening. So to solve all these things, I think DeFi is playing a major role, and it's enabling a lot of automations, to be very honest. Like now, how I'll give you a very simple example today. The example is basically through smart contracts. So let's first talk about what smart contracts are. Now, a smart contract is something which is just like an if-else statement. That's it. So let's say you want to go out and let's say create a problem statement, which is like, I want to go out and set up a fund for someone where the fund pays $100 to a person of my choice till the next 12 months. Or maybe I've hired an employer and I want to pay him a salary for the next 12 months. So what do I do today? I manually actually go out, I go to a bank, create a standing instruction. If this amount is bigger, I'll hire a lawyer to ensure that the payments are happening on time. And then even after that, I'll also have an escrow account where these funds are kept safely. But even after hiring so many people in between, is there a chance that the payments can fail on the desired time period? The answer is yes. You've always seen scheduled maintenance and everything like that happening on these banks. And that's where basically, even after deploying a lot of cost, which is intermediary cost and number of intermediaries, you still cannot actually go out and ensure that this is something which is going to be a short success. Now that's where smart contracts come in and automate all your processes. And what it does it, so basically what it will do is in a smart contract, I'll put out a statement saying that, hey, if this is the first of this month, you just have to go out and send $100 from the contract to this particular application. That's it. So a smart contract will check your current date. At the start of each month, it will debit $100. And maybe the parties are known as Alice and Bob. So if Alice is sending it to Bob, so every month on the first, automatically, without any human interferences, without anyone going out and checking whether the payment has been done or any manual entries being triggered, this will automatically happen on its own on the chain. So what I've done through smart contracts is I have bypassed all the intermediaries. I don't require a bank. I don't require an escrow account because a smart contract serves as an escrow account. I don't require a lawyer because codes are law. So that's something where I don't need intermediaries in between. I don't need to trust anyone in between. I can rely on the smart contract itself. And it's also when I'm not using all these intermediaries, what is happening is I'm saving a lot of cost basically here. So that's something where smart contracts, and these smart contracts are something which are today deployed on various blockchains. And now let me walk you through, or let me talk about a solution which basically can go out and help you understand or draw parallels between how a smart contract is better than the normal way of CeFi that we're doing today. Let's talk about banks. Today, State of Bank of India has somewhere around 250,000, which is 2.5 lakh employees. Now, in those 2.5 lakh employees, the total amount of deposits the State Bank of India actually has is what is basically, when you're talking about that, so in that particular thing, State Bank of India has somewhere around $450 million worth of deposits in their last balance sheet, as in their last closing balance sheet. Now, which means even if 10% of the total workforce is just working on depositing and taking out loans, that means 25,000 people are required to maintain a deposit balance of $450 million. If I compare this to something in the DeFi space, let's say Aave. Now, Aave is currently managing somewhere around, I would say, somewhere around $10 billion, right? So $10 billion versus $450 million, which is already somewhere around 20 times more. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you talk about the number of employees, Aave does not even have 50 employees. So that's something. And if you look at the banking infrastructure, every time the rates are increased and decrease and everything, which is right now happening in the market, the RBI coming out and increasing the rates, decreasing the rates, that happens on a very big time frame, which means 30 days, 60 days, and everything like that. On a 24-hour refresh rate basis, it actually goes out and gives you the live interest rates, which means if there's not a huge demand of deposits, I will have to ultimately pay lower rate of interest. While if there's a huge demand, I'll have to pay a higher rate of interest. So that's where like my systems are even more robust as compared to the current banking system. So on one hand, you have a whole bank which controls $450 million and it's managed by at least 25,000 people to actually go out and do that. On the other hand, you have Aave, which has less than 50 people and is managing somewhere around $8 billion, right? So that's something where actually what is happening is you're going out and you're understanding that a lot of things through automation can be brought in. And is there a loan that gets defaulted on Aave? The answer is no. Why? Because everything is here is having a collateral. So every asset that is here is every loan that you're taking, you're posting a collateral, which means you cannot default. The moment your collateral is about to go lower than the amount you have borrowed, your collateral is liquidated and it's that quick. So that's where what is happening is basically the efficiencies are being brought in. And this is one prime example of efficiency. If I want to take a loan through a bank, it usually would take 2, 3 weeks at a minimum. If I have all the documentations with me on Aave, I can take the loan within 5 seconds. So that's something where the efficiencies are actually coming in. So now when all these things are coming in, there are various systems like today, which we have. Like for example, if you talk about money, we have something called dollars, euros, pounds, GBP, and everything like that. In the decentralized finance ecosystem, you have something like DAI, Ether, and all those things, which serve as the money of this ecosystem. Then once you have the money here in the centralized systems, you have centralized banks, which is RBI, Federal Reserve Bank, and everything like that. Here in the decentralized finance, you can compare them with MakerDAO, which is like issuing DAI right now. The third one is commercial banking, where you have Bank of America, HSBC, and everything like that. All these commercial banking things can be done through Aave or Compound itself. Then you have investment banking, basically where you have Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank, and which is today being compared to something called, you can say, synthetic protocol, D by DX protocol, where you can exactly do a lot of things that you do in an investment banking platform. If you look at exchanges, you have today you have NSE, BSE, Nasdaq, and everything like that. Here you have Uniswap, 0x, and Curve, where you can actually use it as an exchange for brokerage also. So similarly, what is happening is a lot of such use cases which were being used in a centralized format, that there's a alternative DeFi solution for that particular solution. So let's start with let's start with thinking about an ecosystem. Let's say there's a new ecosystem that wants to get developed. And when a new ecosystem wants to get developed, what I want to go out and do is, in a new ecosystem, or let's say we're forming a new country, right? When you form a new country, what is the first thing you will require? A medium of exchange, right? So you would want to have someone who can actually become like, who can actually be you something which can be used as a medium of exchange, so that I can actually go out to that place and trade very freely in that country, right? So that's where stable coins come in. So if you look at the whole cryptocurrency ecosystem as a new country or a new industry, the first thing is how to finding a mode of payment. That's where stable coins come in. Stable coins is something like a lot of people want to go out and get into this market, but they do not like this, like volatility. They do not want to invest, like, let's say $5 at night, and in the morning it goes to $1. So that's where what happens is these stable coins actually peg themselves to a dollar. And when they peg themselves to a dollar, they ensure, and they create an algorithmic mechanism where this dollar peg is maintained through various means. So that so even basically, even if the crypto market is increasing or falling down, they will not have an impact, which is like more than 0.1%. So that's something where stable coins come in. Now let's say in this new industry, now I have money. So there would be two kind of people. Let's say those the first person would be someone who would be able to actually, who will have excess of funds. So you would want to deposit it into a bank so that others can borrow that. And there would be a second category where they will feel that they want to go out and maybe start a business and they need more funds. So they will also want to go back to a bank and borrow these funds that people who had an access has deposited in the bank. That's what bank. So here, let's say we create some lending and borrowing protocols like Compound and Aave. And there, what we go out and do is we go out and we ensure that this lending and borrowing starts to happen in this ecosystem. Now, let's say the person who wanted to start a business, he has got funds to start his business. There's another person who has excess money, he has deposited it and is earning interest. Now, some of the money that you already have, you will not just keep money itself, right? You would want to go out. So if you are in a country, you will not just keep money. You probably would want to buy some commodities, probably some commercial properties, your home property, your vehicles, and everything like that. Similarly, so you'll start exchanging it with various use cases and everything that you would require in your daily walk of life. So that's where exchanges come into the picture in this industry, where in those decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, you can actually go out and you can trade and hold multiple cryptocurrencies, and you can give out your money say per se, you can say stable coins, and diversify your portfolio. Now that's where exchanges come in. So Uniswap is one such prime example of that. Then once you have these exchanges, the next thing that you would require is, okay, now I have 10 different assets. Now I want to ensure that I want to cover their downtrends. I want to ensure that if something falls out or if something is not working correctly and its value is falling down, I do not take 100% risk. That's where we bring in derivatives, right? So derivatives are basically contracts that are traded on centralized platforms usually, but now we have a lot of decentralized platforms like DYDX is there, Gains is there, GMX is there, where actually you can go out and you can create this kind of create these kinds of trades, and you can use these derivatives to hedge your positions and thereby decrease the risk of all these trades that you actually go out and take. Now, maybe some of the people in this industry have time to go out and buy derivatives, have time to go out and exchange cryptocurrencies, while some others who have borrowed money to run their own business probably do not have enough time. And if they do not have enough time, what they will want to look out for is passive fund management, which means they will not go out and they will not find out what is a cryptocurrency that is getting value higher or that is getting developed and everything like that. They will want some asset managers to come in and manage that on chain, right? So that's where protocols like SET, they actually come into the picture. And what they do is they create your something like an index, which is similar to, you can say, index funds or Nifty 50 or something like that, where you can actually go out and you can actually invest in an index, and you can get the benefit of all the crypto assets that are underlying or that are underneath that particular thing. So that's also something which you can do on these platforms. So that's another use case which is there. Once you're able to go out and have all those things fund managed, another thing that is also something which DeFi is taking into consideration is payments. So now when you say that, okay, we already have Bitcoin, why do we need DeFi for payments? Bitcoin, so in order to move Bitcoin and everything like that, there's a huge amount of resources required. And because Bitcoin cannot have smart contracts, which I told you earlier, a lot of automation cannot happen through that. Hence, you require DeFi to actually go out and deploy contracts. So Superfluent is something where you can actually go out and stream payments, just like you stream music on Spotify. So you can just decide, let's say you want to go out and take a consultation with someone. So let's say you want to go out and take a consultation for 30 minutes. You don't even know the person whom you're taking the consultation from. So probably you're afraid that what if I go out and I pay this person and he does not even turn up to give me the consultation. So chances are you probably might not actually go out and pay for that consultation, and that's business loss. And if you're paying it, you're taking a leap of faith that that person will give you that consultation. With streaming payments, what you can actually go out and do is you can ensure that you put the money in a smart contract which is streamed per minute, which means if the other person does not turn out, so what will happen is your complete money will be refunded. If he is giving, if he has booked you for 30 minutes and he gives you a 5-minute consulting, he's just paid for 5 minutes, and 25 minutes money you get back and everything like that. Think about it for also use cases around the labors, right? So today, if you look at a lot of labors daily, which are paid on a daily basis, the payments take time, 2-3 days, sometimes even a week to actually reach them, even when they are day earners and day wage earners. So here, what you can do is simply based on their biometrics, you can actually assess when they get in, when they go out, and the moment they're going out through streaming payments, you can actually go out and get them paid the moment they're walking out of that place. So that's where a lot of payments things are done. Now, once you are divulging into a new industry, another thing that you would want to go out and check is something which is where how do I actually go out and how do I actually remain a little bit more safe? Now, that's where you will actually go out and enter into insurances. So there are protocols like Nexus Mutual, which actually go out and mitigate a lot of risks for you by taking a premium, which is like the normal insurance. You go give out a premium and you have a lump sum or you have a risk that get covered. So that's something where basically what happens is insurance also comes in. So all the tokens logged, let's say that there's a smart contract which where people lose their key. So I think last year what happened was there was someone in India who came out who was an asset manager, and he had the keys for somewhere around $20 million worth of crypto of their clients. And when he came in here in India, in Jaipur, he died. And the moment he died, what happened was all that fund he knew the private keys and everything like that. And ultimately what happened with his death, nobody could access those funds. So that's where insurances can actually help you. There are a lot of hacks also that happen on smart contract level, where actually what can happen is you can actually go out and use these insurances to cover back your losses if you have any. So, I mean, these are some of the use cases that are actually getting created, that are actually getting into the whole ecosystem. And these are just some of the few use cases which are there today. I think there are a huge amount of use cases in DeFi that are getting created, and that people are currently using. A lot of DeFi use cases are making their way into fintechs, into a lot of banks, into a lot of financial institutions, where at the back end, the banks and all these financial institutions are actually wanting to deploy the whole ecosystem on blockchains, while their front end remains the same, thereby getting more efficient, quicker, and faster in managing the client's funds and the services that they want to provide. I think that's something which is it from my side. The last slide which I want to talk about is beware about some of these scams that happen. If you're new into this industry and you're navigating Discord and Telegram, so what would happen is a lot of people probably just come out and say that they will give you a cloud-based mining system where you can mine Bitcoins. Or basically, they will give you some Bitcoin investing packages. You invest $8 and you get like $15 as a sure shot return after 15 days and everything like that. So that's something where you have to be aware of, that this is something where a lot of scams are happening, a lot of people who are actually getting into this. So that's likely a scam. Second one is there's no code base. So a lot of people just raising money on paper and promising you the word. I mean, last time, like I think in November, not November, I think when in July, I was just traveling to Singapore, and there was this crypto expo happening where around 300 people from India had gone there. And there were 5 title sponsors of those projects. Each of those projects was run by one single person. And the scheme was you have to invest $10,000 of your own and get $50,000 more of your uh, friends and family to be eligible for a Singapore trip. So there were 300 people there. So that means 300 people at least deposited $60,000 to win a Singapore trip. Where what they were doing was there was no code base, there was nothing. All they were doing they were doing 7 private sales of a particular project. And with every private sale, they were just doubling the price of the token. And that way, they were promising a 16x return in 12 months. And a lot of people, like 300 people, like I told you, they actually were they had invested that kind of money. So there is no code base, but people are just like, hey, this is something which is going to make you rich. There's no quick go rich scheme which is out there in DeFi. Uh, if you're trying to do that, you probably are going to end up losing all your money. So that's something like this person probably would have raised somewhere around $2.8 million just by promising them a Singapore trip. That's it. So that's something also which is there. And then sometimes also there's key info missing, which is like the teams, you don't even know who the team is. There's no proper token economics model which is created, or there's not even a white paper that makes sense. Think about, so I've seen a white paper as weird as someone, let's say in a neighboring country, actually wanting to run a milk dairy on chain. And that does not make sense at all. So that kind of, so all you have to do is you have to ensure that whenever you are actually going out and thinking about all these projects which are just calling you to invest in it because they will give you a double money or a 10x or a 5x, that's something where you have to be aware of. So I think with that, I'll close down on my, on my session. There are a lot of questions I remember, so that's why I thought of giving a little bit more time there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Cool. So since we were talking about the scams and threats, so I thought, why not take this question? Is DeFi a threat to the banks?
I don't think so. It's a threat. It's a complementary service which the banks can adopt to become more powerful and successful.
Cool. What are the top decentralized platforms providing DeFi services?
I mean, top platforms like I told you, I'll just share my screen again and I'll walk you through all those things as well. Not a problem. Just give me 1 second. So if you look at like the best way to find out the best projects which are there is CoinMarketCap, I would say. If you look at CoinMarketCap, most of the projects which are listed here, if you look at DeFi projects, I think Ethereum is one of the best projects, I would say. Ethereum, Binance Chain is there. These are not financial advices, but these are some of the good projects which I particularly see, which are there. So a lot of projects which are there. So Uniswap is one of the good DeFi projects. Then you have Aave. Then you have Filecoin, which is a good project. You have ApeCoin, which is a good one. You have Decentralization, though Decentralization is not a DeFi project. Sandbox is also not a DeFi project. But yeah, Maker is one. So all these are good projects, I would say, which are actually getting used in today's world. Yeah.
Thank you. What financial services does DeFi cater to?
I think all the things which you can relate to finance. So if you look at today, cross-border payments, if you want to look after creating internal rails for a banking system, if for making internal movements. So let's say you have 200 entities in your company and you want to move funds within an entity. Blockchain serves as a very good way for moving funds. On-ramp, off-ramp, lending and borrowing, fund management. I think all the use cases that I told you about, creation of money, lending and borrowing, on-ramp, off-ramp, cross-border payments, insurances, then you have fund management, you have derivatives. So all those platforms, I think all these use cases are something which are currently being used.
Cool. Thank you. The next question is, when you take a loan in DeFi setup, what will the collaterals be?
Currently, so it started with just, I think, crypto. So your collateral was just crypto, but a funny thing, I'll just share it with you. Just give me 1 second. So we've gone into real world as well. Today you can actually, so I'll just show that tweet so that like it makes sense. Right. Yeah, so here is a tweet like basically where which shows you like real-time assets are actually going out. So an Airbnb property got listed as a collateral for loan in USDC home school. So this is basically a full Airbnb property, which is being used as a collateral for borrowing money. So yeah, real world assets are already there.
And what is the liquidation process of loan mechanism in DeFi?
Liquidation process is very simple. So basically there's a collateral ratio which is there. So let's say if for example, if you go to Aave, and on Aave, if you want to, I'm not sure. If you go to Aave today, I'll just share it quickly with you. So let's say here, basically what is happening is if I go to the market, so here you'll see, let's say DAI. So if I click on DAI, what happens is like right now, this is something which is supplied. So this is the liquidation threshold, which means like if I want to take $100 loan, what happens is like the maximum LTV value. This is something where I have to ensure that I have to maintain this ratio. And the moment this ratio is not maintained and you reach the liquidation threshold. So let's say if you have gone out and if you have want to take a loan of $100, right? And once you go out and take the $100 loan, what happens is like there's a collateral that you will post. So let's say that collateral is 150%. So you need to post $150 worth of collateral. Let's say you go out and put $150 worth of Ethereum when you draw out a loan of 100 USDC. Okay. Now what happens is if that $150, so 80% is achieved of that $150, which is like somewhere around you're reaching somewhere around of 150, that would be somewhere around $120. So the moment you're about to reach $120, what will happen is you will be reaching the liquidation threshold, which means at this point your Ethereum will be sold off if it falls below that. And what will happen is the loan will be automatically repaid, and there'll be a liquidation penalty that you will pay of 5%. And if there's anything remaining, that will be given back.
Cool. Thank you. What distinguishes a DeFi service from a similar service based on traditional finance?
I mean, the biggest thing is on-chain. So anything that you will do today on, anything you will do on a centralized platform, you cannot see what is happening at the back end. You just have to rely on those people providing you information. In DeFi, everything is available. So today, if you want to go out and check anything and everything that has happened till date on Ethereum itself, you can actually go out. So today till date, Ethereum has processed 1,741 41 million transactions, you can actually go out and check all those transactions if you have the bandwidth to. So all the transactions are available here. So that's something which is there. So transparency is available. You can actually see whether something has happened in reality, or is just like people just covering up. So that's one of the biggest use cases which is there. And because there's transparency on chain, it can help you create your own credit scores. It can help you get loans. It can help you with accessing a lot of things which a traditional bank can give you, but with efficiency.
Do you think it could be the significant alternative to traditional finance services?
Yeah, it's already happening. So a lot of, like, if you look at big platforms like I think Robinhood is one. Robinhood is one of the biggest consumer facing application in US, which has somewhere around 25 million user base. So they have deployed their own non-custodial on-chain wallet, which means that they are also looking forward to more people coming on chain and getting that transparency already there. So a lot of these big players are actually looking into how they can actually work out, or how they can actually give out all these informations. And once they can actually go out and do that, this is something where they will have a big challenge. So either they will upgrade themselves, or they will like get perished, because a lot of other people would be giving better services and they would not be able to provide that.
I think those were the only questions that we had. Let's check if we've got any more questions come in the chat box. That's about it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Aishwarya. It was great interacting with you. I would also like to thank all the wonderful audience who've shown interest in today's topic. We would request all of you all to kindly download the 3.0 wires today and be a part of the global learning. There's a lot of learning that you can do apart from our regular freemium version. We also have a pro version, which I did mention to you all in the start of the webinar. Do download our app. Aishwarya, I would suggest that you also please download the app and just log into our pro version. The first month is free.
Sure.
Kind of, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you all. It was great interacting with you, Aishwarya. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.